Hello my friends and welcome, P4wnyhof here. In this video we're going to cover the Grim Patron meta. There are a lot of different versions, a lot of different decks out there, and everyone's like, okay, is this version better? What's your opinion on that version? And we're just going to cover 3 of the popular versions, talk about them, and see where maybe the advantages lie, where one version might be better, and well, in the end it's just personal preference, which version you like more or what version you want to play. So I'd say we're going to start with Kolento's version. He recently reached a legend #1 on Uwilded. You can see it here. It is like more than one of the basic ones, like the older Grim Patron warriors that hasn't developed and built other things. So we have pretty standard double execute, double roan, double fiery, double battle rage. And there the first thing is there's no inner rage in this version. Kolento is playing a double crit Taskmaster and also a commanding shout. I mean, commanding shout is pretty good in matches against handlock, druid, late game. Also, priest can be pretty crucial sometimes, especially if he goes villain's chosen on it. But mostly I would say against handlock, and also the Mirror can be pretty useful. I don't like personally commanding shout because it's too late game. Double armor smith for freeze mage aggro matchups partially. Double crit Taskmaster is just another body on the board you can throw down. Can be pretty cool together with Wishing Commander plays. There's one unstable ghoul, has great synergy with double Frozen Berserker, unstable ghoul into Acolyte of Pain, stuff like that. Can work out pretty great. Frozen standard, Worsting standard. There's double Dread Closer, double No Edition Vendor, maximum card draw on this version plus maximum defense. It's more tacked against the aggro decks with Dread Closer and putting down more minions at the same time on the board. It's pretty good. There's no Dr. Boom in, there's no Belcher and no Brawl, nothing like that, no tech cards. And a Grimoire Shell Scream. Replacement for Grimoire, as always and in every version, is a Leroy Jenkins or a second unstable ghoul. So this version is pretty good. I'd say it's more aggro oriented, so if you meet a lot of Face Hunter, those Zooish locks, also it's pretty good against Druid because of the double Dread Corsair. So even if he swarms you, like even if he goes for Innervates, White Grove, stuff like that, you can just go for the Dread Corsairs. I mean, if you have Deathbite, Dread Corsair, No Shimmer, Dread Corsair, stuff like that, you can build up a great board. Also, Taskmaster into Acolyte of Pain turn 5 play makes like a 2/2 and a 3/2 on the board. It's also a pretty big threat. Can be super annoying. I would say this version more aggro oriented, and for the Druid matchup. In the handlock matchup, you can also put down minions earlier. It's overall a stable version. I don't like the lack of inner rage in this one because you get lesser combos. Also in the mirror matchup, this is not the best version, especially like if you meet another Grim Patron warrior, you don't have Brawl or stuff like that, you might lose. Also Harrison Jones can come in handy, which is in my version, for example. I met Kolento, and I gotta say, in the mirror, my deck's superior, his deck inferior, but he definitely made #1 with his version, so it's absolutely a suitable one. Mulligans for the aggro matchup. Kolento's version is starting with a Fiery War Axe, really important, followed by the Cruel Taskmaster to kill things like a Leper Gnome. You get all those 2/1 max. You can kill Abusive Sergeant, stuff like that. Also, you can buff your Unstable Ghoul or your Armor Smiths. They're like 3rd, 5th important. Red Corsair is really good for the Fiery War Axe backup. Also, you can keep a No Mission Vendor Deathbite if you go 2nd. With the coin, it's okay to be a keeper. If you have a Whirlwind against Face Hunter, also good. You go for the control mid-ranger matchup, you always want to start with the Deathbite, No Mission Vendor, then a Fiery War Axe, Dread Corsair, Armor Smith. If you get something like the card draw, Acolyte of Pain is also okay. Deathbite is really crucial. In the warrior matchup, keep Deathbite, Grim Patron, also Coin Whirlwind could be like the super turn 5 play. Since you don't have an inner rage, you're not gonna do the mulligans as in the coming version. Now we go over to the second version of the Grim Patron warrior, version I built, and I get legend. This is the deck I got legend with, so I played it from rank 16 to a legend in total 24 hours, I would say. It was like a 3-day session, and I counted up those hours. Win rate was around 80%. We get here a different version. There's no battle. There's no commanding shout in, but there's double inner rage, no Cruel Taskmasters, a loot hoarder in that spot, 1 slam, because I love that card. It's pretty crucial to kill like Valley Teachers off, Thoradhan, Belchers, Ancient of War, stuff like that. It can be pretty good. Also just slam execute, that is a thing that works. Loot hoarder for early card draw, therefore no unstable ghoul. Then you have to ask your question, well, early card draw versus unstable ghoul. Since I do not play any Gnomish Inventors, the Loot Hoarder is just a replacement there for the card draw. Also, there's a Brawl and Harrison Jones in, where the Brawl is super awesome in the mirror matchup against Handlock, against Druids, against Priests, against, well, Zulok also. Like in every matchup, a Brawl can be good. There's also Sludge Belcher and Harrison. Harrison is more attack card. It can be a Gnomish Inventor if you don't meet any mirror matchups, but you start meeting a lot of Rogues, Hunters, also mid-range Hunters. Also the mirror in the end. Harrison Jones comes in super handy, especially because no one expects him. It's going to be like Death Bite on 2 charges. Eat it. I mean, I cannot imagine how many times that won me the game. Also, you can go for Harrison Jones into Grim Patron yourself, kill his Death Bite, inner rage the Grim Patron, and get more minions. And that's why there's an inner rage in. You can do the turn 5 combo with Death Bite, Grim Patron, inner rage, Pam Pazam. You can do inner rage, Grim Patron, Whirlwind, stuff like that. And you can do it earlier. I mean, if you go for Grim Patron on turn 8 with Warsome Commander together, you cannot kill a Belcher without an inner rage. So it's Grim Patron, Warsome Commander, and then Belcher dead. If you don't have a Death Bite there. But with an inner rage, you can actually kill minions. You can do the combo earlier. I know it's a body left, but it's just earlier combos. That's what I like more. There's also Emperor and Grimage. The Belcher is definitely better than the Boom in my opinion, because I cannot tell you how many games I just won by surviving 1 turn more with the Belcher than I lost having a Dr. Boom and just getting overrun, where a Belcher would 100% have won me the game. And often when you can play Dr. Boom, you can also play the combo and just dominate and win the game with it. So Boom is just like, in really controlling matchups against Control Warrior, against Priests, against Druid, it can be a super good card, but I gotta say often it has just proven to be fatal and not useful at all. This is the version you can definitely go from 16 to Legend with. Try it out. You don't have Harrison Gnomish Inventor, you don't have Grimage, it's Leroy or an Unstable Ghoul. Definitely try that out. Good one, and I like it. Mulligans for this version of the deck in the aggro matchup are the Fire War Axe, Loot Hoarder, Dreadcloser, Armorsmith, and the Whirlwind. The Whirlwind is in this version, or let's say in the later versions, also an Unstable Ghoul or a Cruel Taskmaster, just so you can compare it to the other versions. In the control matchup, you always want to start with the Death Bite. That's just great. Then like Frowsing Berserker, Loot Hoarder is definitely a great follow-up. Dreadcloser and Fireworks pretty damn decent. If you get an Acolyte of Pain instead of a Dreadcloser or a Frowsing Berserker, you can also keep the Acolyte of Pain, but you definitely want to have a Death Bite just to stay alive and draw the cards. Then we're going to take a peek now at the last version, Xixo. He made first Legend with it. It's pretty similar to the other ones. I mean, it's like exactly like mine, except there is a Thalness in instead of the Loot Hoarder and 1 Cruel Taskmaster additionally. It's definitely pretty good. The Thalness can come in handy with a Whirlwind to kill Knife Jugglers, Flame Imps, also every kind of mechs. They often have 2 HP or they have 3 HP, but then with a Death Bite plus a Thalness and a Whirlwind, you can deal 3 damage in total. Can come in super handy, also 2 damage inner rages if you have to. Often Thalness is just the card draw and it's not working out. That's why I don't think like you're not going to keep Whirlwind for a Thalness Whirlwind play, because that's like the least optimal option. That's like your I have to come back play. I like the Loot Hoarder more because it's a 2/1 and it can actually trade into a Knife Juggler, Flame and whatsoever if you coin it out. It can also kill a Mad Scientist where Thalness just dies and you have to apply bonus damage. So big dislikes. He plays a Dreadcloser and a Gnomish Inventor, also Dr. Boom and Grimage. So this version is more for, I don't know, for every matchup he tries to tag into this. The Dreadcloser and Gnomish is card draw and survival, just stay in the game. There's no like Belcher there, so you're a bit vulnerable in the mid game. You don't have a 5-drop sometimes, no 6-drop. Nothing where you can go like, oh god, I need to survive or get more survivability out. The Dr. Boom can be super good, but often there's no synergy. I mean, Dr. Boom and Gnomish and Warsome Commander can work out, yes, but in a lot of situations you're not going to play it like that. That would be like the absolute bonus where you play it. So this list is like, I think it's the least optimum one. I do prefer the list from Kolento more, because it tags better against the most stuff, and also my version, because it has proven for me. I mean, I pulled it with 80% win rate, but it's definitely a good deck. And I like it a lot. For the Xixo version of the deck, in the aggro matchup, you want to start with a Fire War Axe, followed by the Cruel Taskmaster, Dreadcloser, then into an Armorsmith. Last but not least, the Bloodmage Thalness. It's good to have it in early game. I mean, it draws a card. It can make your Whirlwind stronger. Tops, you could like go Thalness, Whirlwind, and destroy Knife Jugglers and stuff, but that's why I like the Loot Order more, because it's a 2-1 I can actually trade in many more situations. And I do see the card as just throw it out, get the card draw, and Thalness with his 1-1 is no threat for anything. And then in the Control Warrior matchup, you want to go for Deathbite, Fire War Axe. That's like just like double weapon. Dread Corsair, Frozen Berserker, and the Blood May Silence, the last but not least. In that spot, there's also the Acolyte of Pain, there's Armor Smith. So if you get a 2-drop, for example, against Headlock, against Control Warrior or so, it's definitely good. Just keep alive. Everything that draws card is important, as usual. All the cards like this dominate and, well, get highlights with your version of the Grim Patron Warrior.